Tenet 17. Human existence moves toward unity. When the first being looked at the stars, realized something, and said, "Ung," no other beings had a clue as to what it meant by that, so it elaborated and pointed to what it was referring to. Then they understood. This little group did not know that another little group was on the other side of the planet seeing the same thing 12 hours later and saying, "Sta." They did not know that they were on a planet, much less did they know that there was another side to it. About 2,000 years ago, they had not the slightest clue that the planet was a planet. Some of us did have clues, but most of the others did not listen, and we had few ways of really proving them, let alone distributing media around the globe to inform everyone. We thought the sun went around the planet. We thought that we were at the center of the universe, and we were, but in a very different way than we had ever thought. Since the universe is infinite, you are at the center because you are the perceiver, and the universe goes on infinitely in all directions from you. It does this for everyone else, too. We have thought that thousands of different gods have controlled our fate. We have thought all of this only to be left with ourselves. Tribes of people have existed all over the globe and have always been unaware of the other's existence. Through time, these tribes came together and formed bigger tribes and came to know more land. People began to discover each other and where they live. Just as one of these societies began to get comfortable, another society would come with new people, new ways, new discoveries, and merge with the encountered society. We are still doing this. We have thousands of languages with different dialects to each language as they evolved over time. Our cultures are continually coming together in every way. This will continue until we agree upon what we are to do here and why, or we will die trying. You can either watch or participate. I have chosen to participate. As nations negotiate, their borders will drop. This will happen until there are none. Today, we fear a single government, and with good reason. We do not yet have, nor have we ever had in the past, good government of the planet. It is all the governments that currently exist that will form the governing body of Earth, or the GBE. Just kidding, fanatics. There will be plenty of checks and balances as there are in our current governments, and the people that make up that government will always make mistakes. Our laws will adapt to new knowledge that we accept, and laws will make more sense. There will not be one person with power over the planet. There will be 13 or 27, and there will be representatives that work with different regions of the planet. Any of this sound familiar? These things are already happening. Never in history have we ever been so aware of each other, and yet we all know that we have so far to go. Belief systems must crumble. Cultural lines must be erased as we have drawn them. Language barriers must be fully overcome. Knowledge must become noble. Humanity is the race that we are. Black is not a race, it is a culture, as is white, Chinese, Mexican, and each person has their own culture within these cultures. Cultures will be judged by us, as they always are. Your culture dictates behavior that may or may not be based on completely false information that is incongruent with the reality that you live on a planet with many other cultures that are just as flawed as yours because of our roots. All these things that you tell yourself that you are is your culture. Like a saliva culture, it is made up of many different things that you have perceived throughout your life, and the things that your ancestors have perceived that travel to you through stories and your genetic code. And much of it is false ideation. You are in a position, right along with the rest of us here, that you need to recognize by getting away from this planet where you live and where you grew up by escaping in your mind and physically. Eventually, we will not be our countries. We will not be Mexicans, Americans, Africans, Europeans, Christians, Muslims, Australians, New Zealanders, Indians, Sioux, Apache, Blacks, Eskimos, Bolivians, Icelandic, or Germans. We will be Earthlings. We are Earthlings. Who do you want to kill next? If you are dumb, you will take that literally. This is in reference to the past and all that history reveals. How strange would it be for all of us to feel that way as Earthlings? Why would you ever want to stick a shank in someone? There are 7 billion people around you and an infinite number of other things to do. Oh, he killed your wife and kids? Did you tell the police? Oh, the police suck. They stick their neck out to keep you safe, and that is what you think? Our law is not perfect, so why don't you get out there and do something about it? In this way, you can help move the human race where it is already going instead of cursing those real people who risk their lives and their family life to save yours. They are here to protect us from you, and you from us. I have problems with the way they do things all over the world also, and after this, perhaps I will become more of an activist. I like to speed and smoke, so I have to go to Europe from time to time. Someday, that will be normal everywhere. The laws are different everywhere, and you just have to watch your ass. If you're an energeticist, just do good things wherever you go and be very aware of your position. Do you remember when I said don't hit back? That is a job that all of us hold, keepers of the peace. This is my part. We revise our laws as we see fit, and millions of people can do quite a bit. Is that the first time that I've rhymed in this whole thing thus far? Eventually, we will not need to lock our doors as some parts of the planet have it. Every yard could have a garden. There may be regulations on how many children you can have and why, like in China, where one must get a license to have one and pay a heavy penalty for unauthorized conception. I can live with that since we need to take care of everyone else first. There are people starving all over, right at our feet. Mass killings, human sacrificial bombings every day, poverty, drug use is different. If you are dumb enough to kill yourself with drugs, then you are doing this to yourself and might actually help the rest of us not to. That is why it should be legal. And we can mass produce it if we want, but many people will kill themselves because they are that dumb. And many people truly do not want to live at many moments and decide in those moments that nothing better could possibly happen in the rest of the infinite moments that make up the remainder of their lives. It remains, however, a choice that one may make, and a person should be able to make for themselves after passing a series of examinations. That's in reference to euthanasia. In these ways, the human race moves toward unity and is on that path. That path is very torturous for many today, but less so than it has ever been. What do you think we call the landmass that is Earth? We will keep all the names that we currently have for everything, and guess what? There are no lines. The borders do not exist. Tell that to someone in Iraq these days and boom, landmine. Someday, airplanes will fly over landmines, dropping thousands of steel balls to set off thousands of pipe bombs and landmines put there by humans who hate other humans. I would love for these ideas to suddenly spark a hint of reason within you as the human race moves toward unity. But usually some kind of cataclysmic event must cause you to stop and rethink your values. Global warming is real. The events that it sets off are real. I will not go into it here, for the information is everywhere, wherever information goes. People die, you care. Let this help you to start caring now. It is doing wonders for me just having lived it and writing it. Humanity is actually quite beautiful in its existence. We are beautifully intelligent creatures. I am hard on humanity because humanity has been hard on itself. However, I give us a lot of credit, as we all should, for coming as far as we have. Some of us are still burning people alive, but many more of us object to that kind of treatment because we imagine that it must not feel too good and would absolutely hate to be put in that position. If you need to kill me, please put me out with an anesthetic first and get my brain really numb so that my awareness fades out quickly, and then disable my functions. There is really no need for sick brutality. Slavery is not as prevalent as it ever was, but it is still alive and well. Our treatment and perception of women and women of themselves has progressed tremendously. Women are more connected to the universe than men, and it drives them nutty until they become the universe aware of itself and cannot be denied. In part, we have stopped taking over land because there is little to take over anymore. Some people are still conquering lands through force and should be contained. For the most part, our efforts toward unity will be more diplomatic vis-a-vis the UN, United Nations. As we move toward one government, we must proceed with caution so that we can assure that our rulers are knowledgeable and just. To do this, we must become more knowledgeable and just ourselves. So, go do that. Oh, you are doing that? Just the awareness of such things goes a very long way. With or without me, the human race hurtles toward unity. I just happened to catch the moment at the right time. Unlike so many others before me who were so far ahead of their time, I am right on time. On time to see many of you say, "Wow, what were we thinking?" I live in the United States. Sí, los Estados Unidos. This is where all cultures from all over the planet have collided and congealed. The U.S. is a new child of a nation to this planet. Its development dictates a lot of what spreads around this planet. We need to get it together. The rest of the planet does not know what we know. We know that we can do whatever we want, and we do. That has the other nations looking at us like we are spoiled adolescents, and we are. But we need to continue to learn from all the ethnic and cultural and religious collisions that have taken place here. None of them make sense. That is because they don't really exist as we made them up. The universe makes sense. Many areas of the planet govern much more effectively than the U.S. does, but most seclude themselves to protect themselves from the destruction that is hoisted upon them. The creation of the U.S., as brutal as it was a big step in thought for the planet, and now it is a fact. Most people in the U.S. do not know what to think. We have no rich history to be proud of. We took land that was not ours from people we feared and killed, and then everyone else came over too. It's like a big crazy party over here where no one seems to care that they are sitting on the pool table that is several thousands of years old and spilling beer on it. We are the epitome of humanity. Most cultures have held themselves back from such behavior without knowing why. Now, the U.S. is a prime example of what happens when you do not know what to believe. It is time to believe in something again. If you do not believe me, go back to school and study every subject and put it all together for yourself. Ask people, They will tell you what I'm telling you because they are the universe aware of itself, telling you patterns of information that are free to scrutinize once they leave a person's lips, or are printed on a page, or put out on an audio CD. Eventually, we will all understand that we are not special to anyone other than ourselves. And in that, we will find that we are very special because we are ourselves. There are always better ways to care for our children. We are children. We may not fully understand all of this for many hundreds of years, but why waste time waiting for someone else to do something? The human race and I are tired of waiting, even though that is really all that we have to do. Funny that.